Tim, if you can start off by talking to us about how you really got into the oil and gas industry.
Sure. So it's an interesting story because really the oil and gas industry is in my blood. I'd say it was kind of fate that I ended up here. My father was in the energy industry. He was involved in a number of private equity funds. He was also a power developer for a number of years. And as a young kid, I saw him involved in those things. I saw from afar some of the complexities of the industry. I saw how he would bring together multiple people. In the case of a power project, the natural gas suppliers, the off-takers, the landowners, the regulatory agencies, the debt and equity financing. And it really intrigued me. And I also always knew I wanted to be a lawyer. And so it was kind of the perfect combination for me to marry what was in my blood with what I wanted to do, and I ended up here. And I really enjoy sort of the complex nature of this industry.
Tim, talk to me about the path that you've taken to get to where you are today.
Sure. So my path has been very focused on helping others. That's where I find that I derive the most satisfaction, whether that be clients or my colleagues or the community in general. And I think that this path, I started it at a local Houston firm, and it was a very great firm. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of success there, I felt like. But then when my firm, Sidley Austin, opened an office in 2012 here in Houston, I found that as an opportunity to do something entrepreneurial, to really create something I wanted to create, to make it the way I wanted, to work with the type of clients I wanted to. And so I made the jump. It was frankly a very scary jump when I made that jump. But 7 years later, it's been a great jump. And I've had the tremendous opportunity of working with the best colleagues out there, just fantastic people who know their stuff inside and out. And then on top of that, I've developed a really strong relationship with clients who appreciate what Sidley has to offer, what I believe I have to offer, to help them get deals done, to help them get transactions done. And really, it's put me exactly where I want to be, which is being involved in complex deals with colleagues I like, with clients I like, and just having a great time.
Now, of course, let's talk about a risk. You just mentioned that being a scary jump. Do you have any advice for younger professionals, maybe, trying to pave their own way or take a risk, so to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. I think especially in this industry, you have to be willing to take risks. And that doesn't mean you need to take crazy risks and go out and do something crazy or different, but you have to be willing to adapt with this industry. When I started my career 11 years ago, the industry was very different from what it is today. There was a lot of strategic involvement in all sorts of things. There was lots of new money coming in through the capital markets. And then just a few years later, that all dried up. And now it's private equity that's the big thing. And 5 years from now, who knows, where the industry will change, how it will move. And I've found that you really have to make yourself uncomfortable in this industry. You have to be willing to confront challenges, to face those challenges, and to be a doer. Somebody who's willing to, say to clients, for example, in my case, part of my job is to advise clients and tell them, here's the risk, and here's what happens if you confront this risk. And a lot of lawyers, I think, tend to say, well, that's enough. I'll tell them what the risk is, let them decide it. But I think where my clients find a lot of value is me willing to go out there and say, here's the risk, and now here's a solution. And this solution may involve some uncomfortable things. It may involve me having to do some research, me having to talk to my colleagues that know a lot more about things than I do, and coming up with the solution. But then presenting it that way and stepping out and doing that, I think that's very important in this industry.
Can you talk to me about maybe the structure of your company and how maybe having a team behind you, how does that really help you in helping your clients make their decisions?
Absolutely, that's a great question. I think it's crucial. The people you work with is what's going to dictate how good the work you do is. I've found that having colleagues that I really enjoy working with, colleagues who are a tremendous support to me, creates an environment that the clients recognize as being an environment where ideas will flow freely, where I can talk to my colleagues in the environmental space and say, hey, look, we've got this problem, what do you think we should do? And they say, well, we've done this before, but let's talk to some colleagues in a different industry who've confronted different things, and let's come together and let's solve this issue. Unfortunately, in the modern legal industry, there's a lot less loyalty among firms, and there's been a lot of movement from partners moving from one firm to another and so forth. And I found that creates a lot of friction, and that creates a lot of sort of disincentives for people to work together. But at Sidley, not to say it's all perfect and wonderful, but I think our clients recognize that Sidley is an environment where they're going to get the best advice from whoever it is that has that advice, because we really like to work together. And I wouldn't be where I am without my colleagues, no question about it.
Nice to hear that. Now I might have a tricky question for you. Talk to us about work-home life balance. How do you navigate that?
That is a tricky question. And I would say I don't navigate it personally that well. It requires a tremendous support system. It requires clients who support that. It requires colleagues who support that. It requires a family that supports the complexities of it. And what I've discovered is that people really appreciate when you go out and you strive for this balance. You'll never get the balance perfect. But when you strive for it, it allows you to be a person that's very well-rounded. And you can go into situations, and as a result of the work I've been fortunate to do in the community and with my family, I believe I understand people better than I otherwise would, because I encounter people all walks of life. In the community service I do, I work with immigrants on a number of immigration-related issues, and those are different people with different cultures and different tendencies and different thought processes. I think my clients respect the value that that brings, because when I'm doing a deal and I'm working with somebody from a different culture or somebody with a different background or different ideas or different desires, it allows me to bridge those gaps. And it allows me to understand where they're coming from and hopefully help us do a successful deal.
Great to hear. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and congratulations on this honor.
Thank you very much.
You're
I
very
appreciate
welcome.
it.
And for more on honorees like Tim, you can find that information on heartenergy.com.